And at this point in time, again, in conference with the board members in this regard, I make a motion at this point to deny the request for a second accessory building on that parcel.
Second.
Councilman Munger?
I wish to recuse myself as I know the applicants and the surrounding property owners.
Councilman Genzel?
I agree with Councilman Bordway to deny based on a letter that was submitted by a neighbor that really had some great points.
Councilman Bordway?
Thank you.
Yes.
Councilman Keating?
Yes.
Supervisor Ballard?
Yes.
Motion carried, sorry. Sorry.
Okay. This time I'll open up the floor before we go into our reports. Anybody has anything to come up and say? Please approach, state your name, address, 2-minute time limit.
You want to go first? Go ahead.
Yeah, if you could. Yeah. That was denied, yes.
Is there any way you appeal it?
If you wait till after the meeting, we can go through it.
I'm sorry, you know, the microphone didn't get plugged in, so he's got to plug the microphone in.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
I got a question.
Sorry, yes, I already had.
I would ask that you please.
Sorry, just look, I'm learning the AV system.
Back, it plugs in front of the desk.
In front of the desk?
Yep, jump right in.
Check.
Look at that, you're a star.
Oh,
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, and good evening. I'm Donna Russell. I live at 6563 Sherwood Lane here in Boston. For those of you who aren't aware, Sherwood is just across the street. It's off of Boston State Road, and the other end is off of Fairlane Drive. My husband and I have lived in the same house in Boston for 33 years. We were very active in our children's activities when they were younger: Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, PTA, soccer, baseball, cheerleading. Right now, I'm in the Boston Fire Company Auxiliary, St. John's Parish Neighbors, and on the board of directors for Churchill Child Center. I came here because my husband and I have some concerns about the code enforcement officer and zoning board. My husband was needed at work, so he couldn't make it, as well as 4 of my neighbors. There was a concert, a high school concert tonight. And I also have some questions for the town board. This past fall, our next door neighbors, Judy and Leon, sold their home, and new neighbors moved in, Joe and Patty. We welcomed them, we were kind to them, we waved to them. As time went on, we realized that they were very different neighbors than Judy and Leon. They speak loud, play their music loud, urinate against their house, use profanity often, etc. You get the point. Being the good neighbors we are, we tried to ignore their constant partying, which is like a couple times a week, and never called the police, even though they were outside with their friends until after midnight, not far from our bedroom window. Other neighbors have called though. The police comes, and when the vehicle leaves, they start up again. There's an example on Saturday night. They were there from 7:30 until 2:30, till 2 with their friends, partying, laughing, having a good time, and the whole bit. Their friends leave at 2, they're still out 2 to 3, close to our bedroom window. Pictures of, okay. Anyways, late in the fall, Joe mentioned to my husband that in the spring, they were going to install a pool and put up a fence. So spring came, and Joe was out there drawing his yellow circle on the grass, and he said he was going to also ask for a variance. Instead of 10 feet setback, he was going to ask for 5. My husband chatted with Joe on a few occasions about this variance, and even invited him to our backyard to see from our point of view what we're looking at. Joe wanted to still try to get the variance. Fine. So the day before we left for a planned vacation, Monday, May 22nd, we received a letter from Kathy P. With a map, survey, and a letter from the Gorneys asking for their variance. We looked at the date of the hearing, June 1st, and realized we're not going to make it. We were flying home from vacation that day. This hearing was very important to us. Having this pool closer to us would definitely affect our quiet time on our back patio and her sleep. Of all the neighbors, this affects us the most. So I got on the phone and called Town Hall and spoke to Glenn, I think his name was, and asked him if he could change the date of the hearing. He said no, once it's set, that's it. Okay, those are the rules. So he said, you have to write a letter. So he said, that's even better because the zoning board will have it in their hand, it'll be fresh, they won't forget, and the whole bit. Glenn said to include such wording as frivolous, remove garage if kids playing is a priority, etc. But we didn't want to go that far. So that Monday, between packing and getting ready for our vacation, we started our letter. The next day, Tuesday, May 23rd, 2 hours before we would start our travels, and after revising our letter like 7 times, we stopped at Town Hall to drop off our letter to Bill Ferguson. He said he would give it to the zoning board and they would read it at the public hearing. He also said they didn't think the Gorneys would get their variance. Should I read our letter to you that we wrote?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, to the zoning board from Don and Dave Russell. Dear members of the board, we received notice today that you will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, June 1st for a variance request petition 506 for our neighbors Joe and Patty Gorney who reside at 6554 Fairlane Drive. Although we would very much like to attend this public hearing, we have made reservations, paid deposits, etc. for a vacation planned at the time of this hearing. Therefore, we are asking that you read this letter at the hearing on behalf of us. Joe and Patty are requesting to install a 4-foot above-ground pool that will not meet the setback stated in Town Code Section 123-28B1, which requires a 10-foot side yard setback. They're requesting a variance of 5 feet. After much discussion, we have decided this is not in our best interest. Not only would the pool be much closer to our house and yard than we would like, and what the code allows, but it will definitely affect the value of our property. As it is, our side yard is their backyard, and with this variance, the pool would be approximately 17 feet from our house, not the lot line. There is no physical reason why the pool cannot be moved closer to their back garage, deck, or possibly the side yard, while still leaving plenty of grassy area for their middle school child to play. Therefore, we request the zoning board deny this request. Thank you for allowing us to state our opinion in this matter. So that was our letter. Let me go back to this. Okay, and as a side note, the Gorneys stretched the truth a little bit regarding their kids. They have no kids that live permanently in that house. Their middle school kid is there about once a month, and they have maybe a 19-year-old, or he has a 19-year-old daughter who's maybe even there even less. They want to leave the background open for them to party. That's a for sure thing. But anyways, so with our letter turned in, off to vacation we went. All was well, we had a wonderful time with our grandchildren until we returned home. While on our way home on the evening of Thursday, June 1st, that was the night of the public hearing, one of the 2 of our neighbors who attended the hearing called me and said the Gorneys got their variance. She said the board chatted about it for about 5 minutes, made their decision, and that was that. She said it happened so fast and they were in shock. Both neighbors were sick to their stomach, by the way. They were so, they could not believe it. Our question, one of my questions right now is, how did the zoning board come up with this decision? We want to see the criteria. I'm sure it's something like this. I want to see it.
That's the one.
I want to see it. I deserve to see it. It affects us the most. You can email it to me tomorrow. That'd be great. The next day, on June 2nd, one of our neighbors sent a message to Jay Boardway and asked about an appeal. Jay said, yep, you can get an appeal, speak to Dawn. Dawn, by the way, has been very helpful at the town hall. She's good to have. Dawn said to connect with Kathy P. I did, but Kathy P doesn't answer all my email questions. Kathy P said to talk to Bill regarding Article 78. Bill is no use. I sent 5 emails, 5 calls to him, no return. So on Friday, from Friday, June 1st till Tuesday, June 6th, when Ferguson is back in office, because he's only here Monday or whatever, Tuesday, Thursday, I sent at least 5 emails and 5 phone calls, and none was returned by Ferguson. So I visited him on Tuesday. on June 6th, and he was no help at all. He put his hands up and said, it's the zoning board who made their decision, I have nothing to do with it. I asked about an Article 78, and he said to contact the court. Couldn't help me, contact the board. He did admit that he gave Gorney his permit on Saturday. Really? Who works on a Saturday? I call him and he doesn't call me back, but then he meets this guy? I said, I know you and him are buddies. My husband and I knew we lost no matter what. 10 foot, 5 foot, they're still putting a pool in. If we had the choice, it would be no pool, or 20 feet. The code is 10, we're gonna go with it. That's the rule, that's the law, let's go with 10. But no, he wants a 5, whatever. Dawn, I think, has pictures, right, Dawn?
Board, she gave, yeah, copies.
You get, okay, you have pictures, so you can see, okay, backing up really quick here. This is what we got from Kathy. This, only, this big tall one, this long one, I added mine on there, but it's not to scale. That's what they should have showed, both. Look at my house, it's not in the center of the lot, it's over by the pool. Okay, you got the pictures. And what happens when the pool has a leak? Where's the water gonna go? And who's gonna pay for the cleanup? We feel the zoning board is in error. They withheld pertinent information, such as the survey alongside Gordy's, like I just showed you. Also, they did not do a site inspection. Nobody came in our backyard. Nobody saw it from our side. What about an appeal? Don't we get any time to appeal this before the pool goes up? Or do we appeal now and have them drain the pool and move it? We would like a rehearing with all information presented. We really don't want to have to hire a zoning attorney and file an Article 78 proceeding, but if we need to, I guess we will. Well, what are we gonna do? It is not fair though, because the zoning board made a mistake and we have to pay with our time and our funds. We are sick over this. This weekend, my husband and I will move our bedroom to the spare bedroom across the hall to move away from the commotion of the pool. We don't know what else to do. Does anyone here have any ideas for us? My last question, after 33 years, we just sell and move out of Boston. Thank you.
Cynthia Williams, 7004 Leeville Road. You're not gonna like me, or you're gonna like Newman left. I wanna know who's next on your witch hunt list. Since the beginning of Free Center, people sitting up there, you have systematically eliminated people who disagree with your politics. It seems to have started back with Jim Pluta and the fire company contracts. Yes, I'll go back that far. You said, oh, don't worry, you'll be covered by mutual aid. Mutual, by definition, means the same relationship towards one another. Therefore, if we are to get mutual aid, we have to give mutual aid. Somebody from the fire chief from Concord called and asked someone in the town hall, who will be covering my home in Boston? He lied. And he was told, oh, we have an arrangement with Concord. That was the fire chief who said, no, we don't. It's nice when you know people outside of town.
Does he know who you talked to, Mrs. Williams?
I'm not giving that up, sorry. But the person does know who it was, and this is past history, but I think it needs to be brought up. Gene Wojtkowski was appointed in Jim's place when he quit, when you finally wore him down. Gene was not reelected because he turned out to be pretty much a puppet and didn't really want to run that much. Gary Vera was badgered about the athletic field and the basketball court nonstop.
He was bad. I think he did a fine job doing those tennis courts over.
Then Dave Shank, there was a letter put into one of the local papers about him shredding information as he was getting ready to go serve his country. Turns out he was cleaning house according to protocol. No retraction was ever made on that vile statement. And as Dave was over-serving for us, again, constant snide remarks about him not doing his job. He Skyped with Jennifer frequently to keep this town running smoothly. Jennifer stepped in and did a stellar job. Your constant, nonstop attempts to embarrass, disgrace, belittle Jennifer is disgusting. It was not only an embarrassment to us as a town, but it should have been an embarrassment to you. But apparently there's no effect. You have to have a conscience to have that. Jay sits up there in front of us and says things like, "You don't pay me enough to temper what I say or write." It's on film. He makes kissy noises, like telling all of us to kiss off. Real appropriate for a councilman. He stood here and said to one of the town members, "Hey, have you been drinking? Think back to when you thought you were a paraguay." What's one of the signs and symptoms of ketoacidosis? It happens to be a very fruity, sometimes alcoholic breath odor. The guy doesn't drink. But you announced it twice. When we had visiting film, company from Channel 4 or something here, you're saying that out loud. Jay, on the other hand, stood here and came up to a senior citizen and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, Jeff." Well, you came in and interfered too, but on this conversation. Jeff goes over to him in cowboy style, says, "You want to take it outside?" Not the first time he's intimidated somebody. He actually threatened me and my family to the point that I went to Marty Balo and asked what could be done about this. It was before I know the inner workings of the town board. I should have gone to the police. I was foolish. I don't frighten easily. He frightened me. Around here, people get thrown out for expressing the desire to talk to someone. And yet, someone's wife who sits on the board carried on like a maniac the other day, yelling and screaming, and ended it with, "I have a strict moral compass, I believe in God."
Mrs. Williams,
Therefore, it's
Mrs.
okay.
Williams, Mrs. Williams, I'm
Police
okay
were
with you
not
insulting
called.
me. I got a thick skin.
I'm saying, I am
Listen,
insulting
I
you
have a
because the
thick,
police
listen,
were
I'm
not
okay with you
called.
insulting me, but I'm not okay with you insulting my wife.
Okay, a woman sat here and yelled and screamed and carried on like a maniac about something going on in town and the town board, and the police were not asked to be called, and yet the police were asked to be called for a
I think the police were
19-year-old.
actually in the room
He
for
was
that.
undercover. He was in,
He was in the room,
yeah, he chose not to.
yeah. And I'm sure
And
there were,
you
I'm
two
sure there
not hearing it. I have the
Ma'am,
floor,
ma'am, and
please.
I'm sure there was.
I have the floor,
We just
please.
want to make sure you're
My next question
confused
is,
about
who's
the fact
next on your
that
target
there was
list?
a New York State trooper
Thank
in the
you.
room that day.
Thank you,
That's what
thank
we need this
you.
evening. I hate it.
I hate it too when you speak.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Beverly Kent, 7255 Lower East Hill Road. First, I wanted to mention that at the intersection of Burr, Lower East, and Old Lower East Hill Road, there was some new signage put up, I believe maybe by the county. But on the Old Lower East Hill side, the signage is Lower East Hill. So if someone could take a look at that, there might be some confusion. If down at the end, there's some new signage, so if you could take a look at that, that would be great. Clearly, there have been some challenges here in this town, and, you know, challenges for everyone, and certainly for the board. My heart goes out to you. I do want to mention, though, I think it's important, let us not forget some of the good work that this town board has done, particularly those who have been on the board for now 2 terms. I think some of us may have forgotten, I know I didn't, that when that board, the councilmen that are at their 2nd term, when they came to the town board, we didn't have any water. Many of us did not have any water because the system and the project was left undone by the former town board members. And if I remember correctly, it was Councilman Genzel that took on that project and got it completed in a very short period of time, when in fact it had been ongoing for years prior to this town board. It might not mean a whole lot to any of you who have water, but last year, you might remember, last summer was particularly dry. I happen to have a lot of grass and a lot of gardens, many gardens, a lot into that, a lot of resources. And if it had not been for their water, the installation of an irrigation system, that would not have been possible without the water lines, all of my gardens would have died. So I want to let us remember that, and thank you very much for that. The tennis courts. Let me speak to the tennis courts because I remember when the tennis courts were in disarray, and I sat through many meetings when Supervisor Balo had assigned that project to another councilman, and meeting after meeting, the tennis courts went unrepaired. And it probably could have been repaired more quickly, but that particular councilman, in my opinion, decided to drag his feet. Also, let's speak about the fireworks. I compliment this town board for reaching out to the community, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the fireworks display is now fully funded by donations, and I particularly thank you for that. There are always tough decisions, and you know, sadly, some tough decisions have to be made. There are challenges, and I just want to thank you all for the challenges and the good work that you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kenneth Klopfer, 5245 Keller Road. I'd like to thank you also for your wonderful work. You have, in the last year or so, been on a personal vendetta against the former town clerk. You're probably all full of yourselves that you got her to resign. That's great work. Nice local government. The other thing is, I think you ought to let people know exactly what is going on. It ought to be put out here in verbal way what you're doing with that 28 acres that's being rezoned. Exactly what's going on there. The other thing is, you should have told them that Jennifer, the former town clerk, was a friend of those people. They would have never let her put the pool there.
You should have helped me out here, back me up.
Sorry, you know. And another thing, we've been told outside after some of these meetings by one of your board members, and that's pretty rude. And I'd like to know if any of you guys are carrying weapons, because if it gets out of hand again, I just want to know how dangerous things could get here.
Thank you.
May I have one speak at me?
Sure.
I'm Eddie Mazer on Shearer Road here in the town of Boston. I lived here for 88 years. Last year, I went to Patchen Fire Company. They wouldn't even give me no water, even for the animals. I had to go to the town of Eden, fire department, to bring me water. Now that is a disgrace to hear people in Boston. And another thing, my boy is over the road. He drives tractor trailer. He bought a lot of farm equipment and he cannot bring his rig home. I'm in an agriculture district. I want to know, why is the road for 4-ton limit?
Is that a county road or town road?
No, it's a town road, it's a 4-ton limit, that's correct.
He went to post the road on both sides of the road, 4-ton limit. And this guy, Gordon Thomas, on Rockland Road, he dumps 89 loads behind his house to fill the ravine. They brought all this shit out of Hamburg. And now he bought Roger Phelps' place and he made it clean and everything. And the town helped to put dirt around the place. And I'm getting discrimination. I had 5 brothers in the service, 2 sisters, and I was in the Korean War, and my boy was in Iraq. We're being discriminated.
Mr. Mazer, I don't post rules, maybe Mr. T.
I come to talk to you 3 months ago, and you never call me or even come up to see me.
No, that's not true, Mr. Mazer. I did call you from my office. I called you multiple times.
Oh, I just don't want to be discriminating.
I wouldn't discriminate.
Even the fire company discriminate against me.
But we definitely have water here at the town if you need it. We let other people fill up behind. We put a pad in it, made it easier.
After living in here 88 years in this town, I've never been discriminated like I am now.
Mr. Mazer, we have a fire hydrant out there you're more than welcome to use. We also have water hookup where we put a pad for people up on Hillcrest? Up on top in Rockwood, they come and get water. I don't know about the posting, to be honest with you, the road, that falls under highway law.
That thing's got to change because I'm in an agriculture district. T-Lock was squawking at me when I had fixed my driveway in the road. Today, I can't get it fixed. Come and take a look at my place. I want you to come up my place.
I will, Mr. Mazur. I will. I'll come up there.
Come up and take a look at
John,
it.
do we have his phone number?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. It was noted his roof blew off at the last storm. He wanted the town board to know about it and take care of it too, the town.
Okay.
It is
Okay,
noted.
thank you. Anybody else at this time? I make a motion to close the floor.
Second that.
Councilman Munger?
I don't think we made a motion to open the floor, so we don't need a motion to close
Right,
it.
Sam.
He is correct.
Okay. Item number 6, reports and presentations. Highway Superintendent.
Yes, sir, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Brush pickup for the springtime is over with. We picked up every street in May 3 times. We usually only pick it up 1 time in May, but we did it 3 times, and after we got done, there's still people putting brush out, so we'll be around again to pick up brush starting in September. Other than that, downstairs, I'd asked the board permission to get bids on a new 10-wheel dump truck, because our old truck is 29 years old, there's frame issues, and it's time to say goodbye to the old auto car. So we're getting prices on a new truck. It's probably gonna come in the range between $120,000 and $140,000. We should have enough money saved in our equipment reserve fund that we've been saving in for the last 6 years that I've been here, because the first 7 years I was here, we were paying off the $822,000 in debt we had. So after I paid off the debt of $822,000, we've been able to save, I think, approximately 80-some thousand, and then the rest of it I'm gonna take out of our CHIPS money, so it shouldn't not increase our taxes at all. So, other than that, I think that's all I have.
Attorney Mitchell.
I don't have any report. As you know, I'm filling in for Town Attorney Mr. Cofield, and he didn't provide me with any updates.
And thank you for filling in time.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. Councilman Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I was able to talk with Kathy Pajaklo prior to the meeting in regards to the Historical Society. The Civil War Day that was held over at the Hamburg Fairgrounds was a huge success for them. They had approximately 1,000 people able to attend that event, including 5 schools and an additional homeschool group. So good work done by the Historical Society to put that together, or help put that together, and it sounds like I missed a good event. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to attend. In regards to drainage, I have a very large backlog right now. I have to apologize to the townsfolk. I have been remiss in my availability of late, but you are definitely on my list to take care of, and I will be getting in touch with any and all of you very shortly.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Gimson.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. A couple things. I'd like to thank the Boston EMS, some folks that came to an accident my son had and responded in an excellent manner. These people are highly trained, just a good bunch of people there. We're putting together a thank you letter and a donation. A couple responses to the crowd out here. Mrs. Williams, I'm not quite sure when I ever threatened you, but I apologize. I don't mean to threaten people. There is no witch hunt going on. People come and go. People stay. People quit. I'm lucky enough to have been elected here 2 terms in a row. Unfortunately, what a few chairmen have done here in town recently is all nominate 3 candidates. And what they've done to you folks is take away your right to vote. Whether they like us or not, Jay and Marty and I, is regardless, but they took away your constitutional right to vote by giving you 3 candidates that they all endorsed. Now, how could 3 candidates have Democratic, Republican, and conservative values? Think about that, folks. That's all I have this evening, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you, Councilman.
Because you guys are liars and thieves. I'm sorry. That's why you want to
Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. We've had everybody talk. You heard Mrs. Williams about people having outbursts. Please stop. Councilman Borland.
Yeah, that's actual now. Anyway, with respect to Mr. Telak's request, At this point, I certainly would like to consider that. The highway department in this town has done a fabulous job. In 7.5 years we've been here, we watched literally this debt hole in the back there get completely resolved. That fund balance he's talking about, that was done through dedication, watching those dollars, every single one of them, and at the same time doing a fabulous job in this town. Our roads are superior to anything close, the towns he has responsibility for. That truck he's talking about, 29 years, that truck should have been put to bed 9 years ago. Through magician work with welders and ingenuity, these guys kept that truck running, on the road, inspected, and safe. Clearly, they deserve a new truck. At this point, time to make a motion to allow Mr. Telag to go out to open bid or state list or request for proposals for the new vehicle to replace the truck that's being placed out of service at his desire.
I would second that.
Councilman Munger?
Don't you?
Councilman,
She does.
Yes, she does.
Oh, you made a motion, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
there was a motion.
I apologize.
no problem. Councilman Munger? Yes. Councilman Genzel?
Yes.
Councilman Borway?
Yes.
Councilman Keating?
Yes.
Supervisor Ballo?
Yes.
Thank you. A couple things again, certainly, Chairman Mills, thank you for being here with us tonight and bringing us up to speed on the county business that goes on. Ms. Russell, I more than sympathize with your situation. I've driven by, I've seen, I was shocked to come by yesterday and see the pool actually there on the site. It's, can't really give you an honest.
When do people get to appeal it?
Right
now, and let them drain it and move it?
Unfortunately,
what's the statute of
sitting in this chair, unfortunately. Excuse me, do you have something important to say by chance?
Yeah. I don't think I think the way you handled that pool thing, the zoning board, was totally wrong.
We're not the zoning board.
I'm in the
sir.
process of agreeing with you, believe it or not, against probably my better judgments. Okay? Good. Keep comments yourself. Thank you. Unfortunately, as a member of this board sitting up here, what is done is done. I hate to say that I can agree or disagree with what has been done, and that there's some recourse this board could.
pool is there and filled? That shouldn't mean anything.
Your recourse, unfortunately,
pool, you can knock down a garage.
We can,
we can't.
happens to be, that's what has to be done.
I can answer.
Your code is 10 feet.
Donna, she can answer it for you.
All right, answer it.
All right, they're under section 123,
Oh, my
172 of the town code, under zoning, subsection J,
Yeah?
rehearing. There shall be no rehearing of an appeal or an application. by-
Hamburg told me, I
Hold on.
called Hamburg, they said
I'm
yes.
reading the town of Boston
Read it,
code
read it.
by the zoning board of appeals, except in accordance with subdivision 6 of section 267 of article 16 of the town law. I apologize, since I was called in at the last minute, I don't have that. I will specifically provide an answer to the town, as I'm sure Mr. Kovioka will. There is some small area, but I can't specifically speak on what the criteria is because I don't have it in front of me. But there is no provision for just a rehearing